Everything in Poland, and that's where the fight was it was kind of like a mishmash of old and new. So you had these ancient buildings, you had like new things like McDonald's stuff inside them. And the people were very somber, they just kind of stared at you. But there's not, so here we have all kinds of sports all the time, so people don't really think about it, they just take it for granted. They don't really have that there, so when a fight comes down, it's huge. Everybody was excited, electrified, like the arena was sold out, people screaming. It was pretty amazing. Whatever reason, I don't know if they don't believe in sleeping together, they don't believe in like shower doors, but everything's built for like little tiny people. And I'm not giant, but everything's built for like maybe like 5 feet and down. So trying to cut weight in a little tiny bathtub and sleeping on a little tiny bed, it was all very interesting. And you can't just plug your appliances in over there. You gotta have an adapter or to blow your things up. So there was a lot of learning on that trip. Nina was a great opponent and very, very accomplished at Muay Thai. But every fight that we go into, there's always that confidence. I'm as prepared as I can be. Absolutely amazing. When I finally started listening to my coaches, I did. That's a theme that happened in more fights than that one, but when I start listening, things go on a little bit faster. I'm always in the gym regardless. As soon as I saw Ketlin drop out, I was on the phone, I was like, Dave, let's see if we can get it. And I'd always been planning on fighting Tanya, basically, because I was coming up in Invicta and doing very well. She was the champ. She was killing it. So she was the end goal in Invicta, is like, okay, I'll eventually fight her. It was just crazy that the fight didn't happen until we were both in the UFC. So we ended up getting the fight, and it was supposed to be in Brazil originally, but because we took it short notice, we had a little negotiating skills. They asked us, like, okay, well, where would you want the fight to be? And I knew what card was coming up. It's like, I want to be on Conor Khabib.
When you're fighting on a Conor McGregor card, not to mention Conor McGregor versus Khabib, the amount of eyeballs on you and scrutiny and electricity is something that it was unbelievable, the feeling in that arena that night. And her being on the main card, that was the electricity in that place was insane. And now I've probably cornered 50 fights in the UFC at this time, and still the electricity surrounding Khabib, Conor McGregor card I still have not come anywhere close to feeling that.
What did it feel like to get that performance of the night bonus? Like when you found out about it, was that pretty cool?
Yeah, I was shocked. It's every time, like, you might do well, but as you're in the moment, you're just doing these things. You're not really outside looking in. So every time something like that happens, it's just shocking, and I'm overwhelmingly grateful, just because it's it's kind of like icing on the cake. Like, hey, you did do a great job. Here you go.
What is your favorite Aspen lad fight?
Sarge Eubanks. That was a banger. Both those women had a great fight. Enjoyed watching both of them. I had a lot of respect for Sarge as much as my own granddaughter.
As I said earlier, Sajara is a tough fight, and she got a heck of a lot tougher. So between the time that we fought the first time and the second time from Invicta to the UFC, she'd been on tough, and I think had she ended up fighting for the belt, I think she would have won it. But she had her own weight issues. But she got a lot better. We both did, but that fight was a rough slugfest, like no quitting anybody. It was great. And by the end of it, I was standing there, like, she's been my only decision, by the way. In Invicta, she's been my only decision in the UFC. That is a tough chick, and she will die before she taps or gives up. I was grateful for that kind of opponent again.
going into it, we knew Sajara was better than she was the first time. So we expected it to be what it was, an absolute war, and that fight ended up getting, fight of the night. Sajara's an animal, and we expected her to be just as better than she was the first time. So no, we weren't surprised. We were very, very prepared and expected everything that came from that fight, and we expected to win.
I'd barely gotten home from the Sajara fight, and I think I'd been training for a fight for about 6. I'd had 2 fight camps at that point, and we finally got to Sajara point, and it was kind of like a sigh of relief because you kind of decompress, let your body heal. But you get that call, it's like, are you really going to say no? And we didn't say no.